3 people were hurt last night after alleged rival gang members exchanged gunfire inside a Lakewood theater. It happened just after 10. Police say bullets were flying in the lobby and outside the Pacific Theater. One person, a 27-year-old man, was slightly injured when a bullet grazed his head.
Well, yesterday, we brought you the tragic story of the deaths of a Norwalk mother and son, and today news that an arsonist is to blame. 37-year-old Diana Olivas died when she tried to save her disabled 12-year-old son, Tony Jr. Both were trapped when flames roared through their home early yesterday. Police believe a gang member torched the home as revenge against someone who used to live in the Oliva household.
One of the former residents had some local problems when he lived here. It probably had to do with his lifestyle as a gang member at the time.
We didn't know what it was. We thought it was just somebody breaking windows in the neighborhood, and we looked out. We looked the flames just shooting out.
Well, Olivas' husband survived that fire but was badly burned. His mother and his father-in-law were also injured. All of them remain hospitalized this morning. And
It's happened again, something we're reporting much too often, a home invasion robbery, this time in Encino, and this time they got in by preying on the couple's sympathy. A woman at the door asking for help. Our Kathy Wessler spoke to the victim's friend.
She opened the door, she was shot with mace in the face, and then she was duct taped. And then when her husband got in, they put a towel over his head and told him to keep looking down and not to move. And they had the barrel at his forehead.
Then police say the robbers separated Dr. Edith Gevorkian and her husband, Nazareth Demirjan. At gunpoint, they took Nazareth to his jewelry store, Nazareth Jewelers, on Ventura Boulevard in Encino. Police say the robbers stole a sizable amount of jewelry and cash.
He was extremely frightened. He says his biggest nightmare was having the gun at ever having a gun barrel at his forehead, which he had for about an hour, and he says that scared the daylights out of him.
During this time, the robbers took Edith back to their home and, according to police, completely ransacked it.
She's bruised and beaten up.
When the robbers finished ransacking the jewelry store in their home, they dumped the couple here at the Haskell off-ramp of the 101 freeway in Encino. The couple, still wrapped in duct tape, managed to tear it off each other and run to a residence for help.
This is the door they knocked on. The owner of the home didn't want to be identified.
My son looked out the window and he said the woman looked like she was really suffering. She had blood all over her nose. He opened the door, led them inside, called 911.
Police say the robbers followed the couple for weeks and offered this advice.
Anytime you have a knock at the door, you should try to determine who the person is before you open the door.
And what a haul. These robbers reportedly got away with $250,000 in jewelry and cash. 3 men, 1 woman, all wearing ski masks and latex gloves to hide their identities. The only clue police have tonight is this, a description of the couple's stolen vehicle and the license plate number on your screen. It belongs to a white Ford Explorer. Here it is, 3MW U393. Again, 3MW U393. In South LA, overnight, people opened their door to men they thought were the police. 5 men impersonating LAPD officers stormed into the house on 85th Street, while women and children slept inside. Everyone was held at gunpoint while the men ransacked the home. No reports of injuries, but they got away with an undisclosed amount of money. These men were seen driving away in what resembled an undercover police car.
Tonight, police are searching for a group of police imposters. Investigators tell us a gang of armed men conned their way into a Lincoln Heights home. They handcuffed the residents and then robbed the house. Today, they relived that horror with our Jose Sanders.
There's police over it. They moved. You hear?
For Enrique Lopez, it was the worst kind of nightmare. But unfortunately, this time, he was wide awake.
But they take out my wallet and money, I said.
Last night, about 9:30, a group of men barged into his Lincoln Heights home, pretending to be police officers.
The police? Okay. Huh? Police that badge and the gun, you know?
In fact, the men were robbers who broke down doors and then ransacked the family's home, looking for anything of value. The men pointed revolvers at Mr. Lopez's head and then handcuffed him, his wife, and his son.
So we were for about an hour or so. My father tell you, what is this? They're not police. And we're standing over there, and they are on the bed, and we are on the floor.
The Spanish-speaking bandits got away with about $1,600 worth of loot. But luckily, the family wasn't seriously injured. Detectives say there were 2 other similar break-ins recently by people pretending to be police, one in January, then another in March. All of the victims were elderly or immigrants. None of those crimes have been solved. But detectives say if you are suspicious about someone at your door, there are things you could do.
If you have any doubt whether this person is a valid utility person or police officer, merely call. Police department will definitely verify it. Also, police officers have an ID card. They have their picture on their ID card. Police is written very conspicuously on that card.
Meanwhile, the men who wrecked the Lopez family's home are still at large. From Lincoln Heights, I'm Jose Sanders, Channel 2 Action News.
And the family told Jose the imposters wore coats and ties like plainclothes officers, and they spoke with Cuban accents.